Welcome to another edition of the Big Freaking Friday Show on the College Football Mafia Network. I'm your host, Nathan Bomber Brown. With me are my partners and guys that I'll do anything with. All you have to do is ask. That would be Wild Ute and Moen. How are you doing tonight, guys?
What's up? Happy Friday. Happy long weekend, y'all.
It is a 3-day weekend, isn't it? I forgot about that. When you're unemployed, you forget about days, so it doesn't matter. It's not a good joke. I appreciate everybody being here tonight. I think everybody knows the topic we're going to be going on. It's the CFP, whatever you want. I call it capitulation by the Big 12 and the ACC. But we're going to go into that in depth tonight, sort of go through some quotes. We can hear from those who won and those who basically rolled over and died. We appreciate everybody being here tonight. And make sure you follow us on Twitter. Subscribe on our YouTube page. I am warning everybody, about 15 minutes after, we are live on Twitter right now. In about 15 minutes, we're going to turn that off. We're going to go straight to YouTube. So I encourage everybody to jump over to your YouTube page, College Football Mafia, and we'll pop up. Just hit that button. You'll be able to not only subscribe and watch us live. I appreciate everybody being here tonight. So before we get into ranting and raving this evening, tell me how you guys' weeks went. How did it go? I had 2 good interviews this week.
You did have great interviews this week. This week's gone by fantastically. Can't wait for this long weekend. I can't wait to have this conversation about how the Big 12 let themselves get into this hole with Notre Dame. We're all going to go on rants about this. But the Big 10 and the SEC, they're making out pretty good too. But Notre Dame, looking pretty dang good. Little Mickeys. We're going to talk a little bit more about the Mickeys today.
I love it. That's fantastic. How about you, Moen? You're a Ohio State grad, national champions of college football. How do you feel about Notre Dame's position right now?
Well, you guys know I'm a huge supporter of the Fighting Irish and their desire to remain independent. We had 2 really good shows this week with generous people, and as a result, I'm going to do something a little out of the ordinary. Look at this.
Whoa, Moan, what do you got there?
So peach. I don't know what.
This is peach and apple. I've never had flavored Crown Royal.
Okay.
But thanks to people like Ryan Willie and MBM and Amazing Blue, and I've also, because my friend Justin Coos Walker recommended it so much, I've got blackberry Crown Royal.
Oh boy.
The berry, the fruity flavors, Mom.
Yes, we're going to try flavored Crown Royal.
Okay, I guess we're the cork's going to be off the bottle here, so let's just might as well jump right into it. Okay, this was a long week. It started off great. I had some good interviews on Tuesday and Wednesday. Bob Thompson was fantastic. If you didn't catch it Wednesday night, just look into our library. It was the last live show we did. And I'll bring up our webpage in just a minute, but just talking about how everybody was sort of prepping. We were still talking about the house settlement. We were still talking about paying players. We were still talking about NIL and all these other things that we thought were going to really dominate the summer. And out of literal nowhere, the CFP just gets hammered and dropped right on us. It's a Friday news dump. They did it on purpose. Everything that has to go with it means that unless you're in the SEC or in the Big 10, and I would even say they got screwed, because right now, today, Notre Dame, if they're in the top 4, they're going to get a home game, and they don't have to be in a conference. So rather than, go me, you, whatever, I'm just going to open it up and you guys kind of tell me how you're feeling about this thing. You and I are sort of in the same position. What do you think about it right now?
I can't believe that everybody capitulated to Notre Dame. Like, seriously, what did everyone get from Notre Dame to give them these concessions where they didn't have access to a home playoff game before? Now, if they go in the top 4, they can get a home playoff game. They gave up nothing, and they seem to have got everything. I don't understand it. Like, there has to be something that we're missing here. Like, there's got to be something that is a part of the negotiation that we haven't heard of, especially if you're the Big 12 or the ACC.
So let's talk about that. Let me interrupt you right there. Let me interrupt you. Do you think there is something going on in the background? Because as mad as I was today, I think there is. There has to be something they gave up. The ACC and the Big 12 did, right?
Well, it's got to be into 2026 and beyond, right?
Yeah.
That's the negotiation, because we're talking about this year for the playoff. And if that's the case, if it's for like the long-term stability and like there's a better seeding method for the Big 12 and the ACC in 2026, okay, that's great and stuff. We can digest that. We don't know. I think that there's something there. I don't think it's huge, but there's some kind of negotiation there. I'm sure Euromark got something done. But for now, with the information that we have, it seems like Notre Dame really won out on this deal. What do you think,
Moen?
Yeah, this is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I don't have a problem with straight seeding. Want to move to straight seeding, that's fine. But a team that plays no conference championship should not be able to get a bye. They play one less game than a lot of people do.
Easier schedule, Moen.
Yeah.
They only have to play 3 or 4 P4 programs a year.
Yeah, they play Navy, they play Army, I mean, it's ridiculous. But and I'm going to say this right now. I saw a lot of people bitching about the USC Notre Dame rivalry ending. I'm glad it's ending. People need to stand up to Notre Dame. And USC seems to be like they're going to do it. And I congratulate the Trojans on that. Fight on. More people need to stand up to Notre Dame. People just keep rolling over for them. As long as they keep getting what they want, they're going to keep, doing what they're doing. So can't complain when, you give them an inch and they take a mile.
Well, and I guess that's kind of where it sticks in Micron. I don't want to speak for you, but we're in a similar situation with both BYU and Utah being in the Big 12, and neither one of them have sort of the double access that the Big 10 and the SEC do. At the end of the day, though, even straight seeding, well, for one thing, we didn't get more games, so still 12 teams, which I think is just stupid. They're just throwing money out the door. Mm-hmm. And the other thing is the straight seeding thing only benefits the Big 10 and the SEC and Notre Dame because the RPI is rigged. Jeff Fuller's proved it. The recruiting rankings are absolute busts because they're done subjectively. There's no numbers, right? Utah and BYU get a 4-star, all of a sudden they're a 3-star. And they didn't do anything wrong, right? So, look, at the end of the day, why isn't everybody up in arms about Notre Dame? That's the one thing I don't understand. Well, why is Alabama? Why aren't Alabama people just screaming bloody murder that Notre Dame's basically got a double bye if they want it?
Yeah, I have no idea. Like, look, how many years have we known each other now? I've told you this over and over again. Notre Dame gets special treatment because they're Notre Dame.
Sure.
And you keep appeasing them. It's no different than World War II. They just kept appeasing him and appeasing him and appeasing him, and they just keep taking and taking and taking until someone stands up and says, no, we're not putting up with that bullshit. It's going to continue. But the problem is everybody continues to allow it to happen. The USC is the first one to stand up, and the pushback has been 90% against USC.
Is Notre Dame even pushing this, Moen, or is it just happening to their benefit? Like, how in the world are they getting these concessions?
Oh, they're pushing for it. I mean, yeah.
So they've got that much power that everyone's just bending over backwards for Notre Dame?
Here's my belief is
I can't figure out
why the SEC. There's people in the SEC who don't want Notre Dame to join the Big Ten. So in order to prevent that, they're willing to give Notre Dame this. And then you've got the ACC contingent. We already know the ACC grabs ankle. Jim Phillips, he sees Notre Dame walk in a room and he pops his mouth open. So we know that the ACC is backing him up.
Well, hold on. Let me interrupt you right there, because you and I have we've always dogged on the ACC because of how Phillips has acted to the SEC. And yet this is a quote today. Brandon Marcello already posted the link, so everybody knows what it is. I'm going to make it big so you can read it. This is a quote from Brett Yormark, who we've been holding our heads up high saying he's going to represent the Big 12. This is exactly almost word for word for what Jim Phillips said, is today's decision might not be the best thing for the Big 12. What the hell are you? You're a commissioner of the Big 12. What do you mean you're voting against your own interest? But it was the best thing for college football. I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, what does that mean?
I don't know. I hope what's best for college football continues to be the priority in any discussions moving forward. I'm sorry, guys. Look, I can be a homer just like everybody else. I do not understand what happened. Where did everybody go? Do we have to put ourselves back on, Moen? How did that happen? That's weird. Anyway, I don't know what to do with that quote.
The only thing that makes sense is if there was a threat of a complete pull away from the Big Ten and the SEC saying, hey, we're leaving unless you capitulate to this. Then all of a sudden it becomes the best thing for college football. But otherwise, you just bent over. Fight a little bit. Show us something. It's pathetic, actually, seeing this type of stuff. And it's such a loss for the Big 12. I mean, you lose an automatic win in the playoffs by not going to the second round of the playoffs. And you mentioned, Bomber, too, there's artificial down seeding. So you're going to get not ranked as high because you're not going to get on TV as much as a Big 12 team and stuff. There's bias against the Big 12. So it's working against you. This isn't pro sports, guys, where you're just playing the same teams all the time and everything. This is based on subjective rankings for a college football playoff committee that are going to be biased towards the biggest brands and the most exposure brands. And that's really bad for the ACC and especially the Big 12. And that's why we're squawking about this so much. That's why it's such a big deal.
Yeah, but I mean, I completely hear you, but as much as we've lauded Brett Yormark, him and Jim Phillips are the two that are most responsible for this.
Yeah.
They should have stood up and fought. You're right. They were the ones who had the most to lose. And it seems they were the ones that rolled over the quickest. So can we look deeper at this? Here, I'm going to take this. Let me bring up this comment. We'll get to everybody's comments in just a second. Say shout outs and everything else. But this is, I think, probably the most spot on thing is by Rock and Ren, obviously contributor to the show, College Football Express on his own channel. ACC and Big 12 decided to be cucks for $8 million. So essentially, for a little bit of coin, they sold out. How many teams? 17 in the minus Notre Dame. What was it? 17 in the ACC, 16 in the Big 12, 35 schools. And that's not even counting the G6 schools, right? Right.
It's absolutely incredible that we got here.
But you didn't even get more money out of the deal. You had that $8 million anyway.
That's
because you were already in the second round. You already had an automatic win in the first round. So you got the $4 million anyway. So you didn't get any extra money. You got nothing so far. You got bent over. And we better be hearing something over the next 2 weeks about what Yormark got out of this deal. Hopefully it's a 4-4-3-3 new future playoff model. So I doubt it, but that would be sweet, right?
That's something that I thought of too, is there were leaks earlier in the week and the end of last week. They were back talking about 4-4-2-2-1-3, and they were out talking about 4-4-3-3 or 3-3-3-3, whatever. We heard all these numbers come out in the last 5-6 days, and then out of nowhere, none of that exists. Straight seeding, 12 schools.
Yeah. And
if you're not in the Big Ten and the SEC, for every reason you guys have already elucidated, you don't have TV coverage. Again, the RPI is broken, the recruiting rankings are all those things that are subjective. This is just hamstringing the rest of college football.
There's no other way to put it. You're right. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. And I'm a Big Ten guy. And I'm telling you, it's bullshit. That did not need to happen this year. If you want to go to straight seeding, Move it on down the line, and still Notre Dame should not get a pass for not playing a conference championship game. It's
a double bye.
Here
It is
you
literally
go.
a double bye.
Remain independent, and let the ACC allow you to play in their conference championship game if you reach that level. Go ahead and do that. But they need to play an extra game somewhere along the line. And it should be a quality game against a quality opponent like a conference championship game would be.
So an idea would be force them to play 13 games regardless.
Yes. And it has to be a quality opponent.
Well, right now, I mean, we can bring up their schedule again. We've done it 100 times. But I think they only play 3, 4, maybe 5 P4 conference, schools. It just doesn't.
Well, they play 5 in the ACC. They play 5 in the ACC. So
yeah, but how many of them are Wake Forest, Duke, Boston College, Syracuse?
Yeah, what is Notre Dame's schedule?
We can bring it up again. We've gone over it again.
Bring it up.
It's changed though because they've got that special deal now with Clemson, Florida State, and Miami.
Yeah, it's changed for 2025.
I believe that goes into effect.
But Moen, even if that's the case, you're still only talking. I mean, the Big 12 is like a gauntlet. Every school can beat every other school in the Big 12, and you put them straight across with schools in the Big 10 and the SEC, except for a few that are absolutely elite, like Ohio State. There's nobody that can't beat anybody.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you. I think conference champions should receive that first round bye, regardless. I don't agree with the straight seeding.
Let's get rid of buys altogether to go to 16 teams. And
well,
then
we can't. That'll happen in 2026.
I don't understand why it didn't happen now.
Because they probably didn't want to do it now because next year the Big 10 and the SEC have even more power over it.
But I don't know. How can they have more power than what they've got right now?
Yeah, well, we'll see, but I think next year we're going to get that 2026 we'll have that 16 team.
Before you run through this schedule, we're going to move everybody over to YouTube. I just want to give everybody, I'm going to turn off the X feed. So if you're watching right now on X, go over to YouTube, go to College Football Mafia, and you can watch us live. This has been a little bit of a piece of what we normally do on our Big Freaking Friday shows, so I hope it's been entertaining. But I'm going to turn off the X feed, and I want you to switch over to YouTube and watch us. I really appreciate that. Go ahead, I'll do that while I'm turning it off.
Let's take a look at this. So 2025, we're talking about this new straight seeding. And Notre Dame is the biggest benefactor. Let's take a look at their schedule, okay? So they're at Miami. It's going to be a tough game. Miami, we'll see where they end up in the rankings and stuff. They're showing 21. I don't know where they're pulling that information. Then you go Texas A&M at home. So you start out with 2 tough games. Then you've got Purdue at Notre Dame. You're going to Arkansas. You do have Boise State at home, NC State at home, USC at home. Then you finish out with this at Boston College, Navy at home, at Pitt, which is going to be a Notre Dame home game, Syracuse, Notre Dame, and at Stanford. This is soft, guys. Like they're going to go. This is like a piece of cake 10-2 schedule. They're in the playoff for sure.
But so you just said the bottom line. I think everybody that's watching this show right now, and I hope a lot of people switched over from X. We've been saying this for a long time that they're going to get in the playoff regardless. Every year, Notre Dame's going to get in the playoff, and we kind of looked at each other and go, well, whatever, that's Notre Dame. There's nothing we can do about it. But now we find out they can be the number 1 seed and have a bye. That changes everything from what we've talked about before.
Mm-hmm.
Here, let's get to the super chat from Greg Flugar. Peek around the corner, dipping in tonight. It's great to see you, Greg. Let's see here. Let me read $10 super chat. Appreciate you so much, Greg. Just wait until Notre Dame, Alabama, and Texas all receive first-round buys in the 2020. Oh, geez. Happy days are here again. Now I'm going to walk in front of a bus. He didn't have Ohio State on there, Moen.
Ohio State. We'll see. We've got to rebuild this year. We got to reload. But Thank you for the super chat, Greg. I got something here for you before you walk in front of that bus.
We want a cheeseburger? Come on, everybody got a cheeseburger. One cheeseburger? Come on, cheeseburger. I don't want a cheeseburger. It's too early for a cheeseburger. Too early for a cheeseburger? Look. Cheeseburger, 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 cheeseburger.
That's great, Mon.
I love it.
Super chat.
Thank you so much, Greg.
I got like 30 new sounds on here.
That's so good.
That's all right. Mr. Flugar, thanks for joining us tonight, man.
Thank you, Greg.
Let's do some shout outs, eh?
Let's do it.
We've gone through the cream of what we're going to talk about tonight. So let's get involved with our people watching right now. Mr. Monkey says, first guy to check in says pretty much first.
Boom.
Actually, that's not true because I went on to the wrong thing. He wasn't actually first. It was, I want to make sure I give credit where credit's due. Jay Chapman was actually first. And Jay Chapman says, I'm definitely going to make an effort to watch this one. SEC represented. Good to see you, Jay. Thank you so much for being here. Really like to have your feedback on this as an SEC guy. How do you feel about this new, straight seeding, 12 teams?
Mm-hmm.
Give us your comments in the comment section. We'll try to flag them. It's great to see you. Thank you. Mr. Monkey says pretty much first, which is second. Good to have you here, Mr. Monkey says. Appreciate you. Daniel Gygax, contributor, short video extraordinaire. Good to see you, Daniel. And also a member of the College Football Mafia family. Hi, everyone. Good to see you, Daniel. Thank you so much. Antoine Johnson checking in, saying, hey, y'all. Hey, y'all. Speaking right to you, Ute. Speaking right to you. Laura Weiss, another valuable member of the College Football Mafia family, saying, hey, y'all, as well.
Hey, y'all.
And we're getting hey, y'alls left and right. That's all right.
Y'all's a great one.
It is a good one. I agree. Sergeant Pickles, another extraordinaire of our shorter videos, more of the precise data, analytics, scheduling, that type of stuff. Appreciate you, Pickles. Thank you so much. On this beautiful Memorial weekend, which he's a veteran. I want to shout out to all veterans. Remember those who gave everything to us for the freedoms we enjoy. Something like that. I appreciate you, Sergeant Pickles. Thank you for all you do. And all the veterans that are watching right now, our hearts go out to you and your family. Thank you so much for everything you've done for us. And there's really no words we can. I have family that are veterans, and so I'm sure most of us do, and we really, really appreciate that. You guys want to say
Becky, contributor Becky too is a veteran. So thank you, Pickles. Thank you, Becky.
Absolutely. You're exactly right. C. John checking in. Good to see you, C. John. TGAIF at Georgia Tech. Cheers, Moen.
There you go.
You got something for Georgia Tech?
I can play the Georgia Tech song. Might as
Go
well.
ahead if you want to.
I go to Johnny and Bellows and drink my whiskey clear. I'm a random wreck from Georgia Tech and a hell of an engineer.
I guess it's time I open up one of these apples and try it.
Okay, while you're doing that, we'll keep going. Jackson Johnson, a contributor and a moderator. He's really the moderator. God, good to have you here, Jackson. Says, what's up, College Football Mafia Nation? Good to see you, Jackson. Thanks for all the help you've given us. Let's see. C. John says, Crown Apple tastes like Jolly Ranchers.
I'll tell you here in a second.
Sounds like a headach to me.
It smells like alcoholism to me, so I don't know. That seems kind of crazy. The more drinkable you make alcohol, the easier it is for everybody to enjoy, I guess. Matthew J. Kip, good to see you. Happy Memorial Day weekend, everyone. Thank you so much. Let's see here. Conundrum says, your mark folded like a deck of cards. What was your first thought? I want to know.
Sorry. I just saw Moen take a shot of the smallest thing I've ever seen in my life. How big is that? Dude, it's a
That's what was in the box?
There's 20 of them in a box.
Holy smokes, Moen.
That's crazy.
Well, it was either that or buy a full bottle of apple and a full bottle of peach. And
I'm not asking you to do right there. Okay, what was your very first thought when you saw this tweet from Brett Yormark, or you heard the news from Jim Phillips?
Why? Like, it was all moving in a really good direction of like a 4-4-3-3 conversation for 2026. Seemed like the Big 12 and the ACC had a lot of momentum. There's a lot of pushback from Big 10. Then out of left field, this came out of nowhere. The straight seeding just absolutely came out of nowhere. So it's just a shock to hear nothing else from it. And we just hope that there's some other negotiation. Something else that we got in this, right? That has to be.
Today's decision might not be the best thing for the Big 12, but it was the best thing for college football.
Why is the Big 12 looking out for college football?
I have no idea.
Looking out for college football when we're absolutely getting
We're
just
at war.
bulldozed by Big 10 and SEC. Like, what? Why are we doing the best thing for college football?
I don't understand it.
Moan doesn't even understand it. He's like, "What the freak? We don't even want this. This is ridiculous, guys. Why?"
Look, I was happy with the way this season's playoffs went. Obviously.
Oh, I'm sure you were. Yeah,
but
I'm sure you were.
But I mean, look, Oregon deserved the number 1 seed and to be, and so did Arizona State deserve to have a bye for being a Big 12 champion. I think a conference champ. What's the point of playing a conference championship game?
I don't know. I don't know why
Let's
you do
just
those
get rid of
anymore. Let's
we
get
might
rid
as well
of
just
championships.
get rid of them and just have a regular season champ.
Yep.
And that's it.
Definitely.
Because, I mean, Notre Dame's never going to have to play one. What is the benefit in playing one?
You know what? The quote in this is brilliant. Who's the coach of Houston basketball? Kelvin Sampson.
Kelvin. Yeah.
Kelvin Sampson needs a license plate cover made with this quote. He says, we won the Big 12. And they did. The Big 12 season, he could care less about the Big 12 tournament, right? Yeah. The after season tournament is only a money grab for the conference. That's all. That's the only purpose. That doesn't help you in the NCAA tournament bids. In fact, at some point, it almost hurts you playing those extra games. So same thing goes to football. Exact same thing goes to football. Why play extra games when you don't have to? Let's all be Notre Dame.
When are we going to get to a position where somebody just sits out of a conference title game if they're a high seed?
Well, that's what I mean.
Why would I risk a quarterback injury in this game if I'm already
Absolutely
number 2 or 3 ranked? Like, that makes no sense, guys. It doesn't, unless you're trying to play in for the playoffs.
Yeah,
the playing game makes sense if you're right on the bubble, but if you're a top seed, heck no way. I'm not playing a conference championship game. Too much risk.
Well, we love the play-in games, right? That idea that you have competition for more teams than are just the 1 and 2. You bring in more schools, you have more money for more games. Lots of stuff you can do that's creative. Just giving up. Right now, Mo, let me ask you a question. Big 12 champion this year. I don't care who it is. What's their record and what seed do they get?
Okay, they have 2 losses.
Okay.
And they would probably be a 6 seed.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I think you're
either.
looking at 9 seed.
I believe that's
10
true
seed,
too.
maybe 9, 10 seed. You're not even guaranteed a home playoff game.
That's right. That's right.
Not probably on the road.
It's incredible. It really is.
Here's my thinking on it. They know that people are going to expect them to rank the Big 12 and the ACC champion lower. I think they're going to artificially inflate the rankings this first year.
Why? Why would they change it just for 1 year? What's their motivation? They don't have to.
They don't have to. But again, I think that they're going to give them a little more of a bump because they know people will complain, and they will rightfully complain.
Daniel Dilly gives us a $20 super chat. Also a valuable member, very valuable member of the College Football Mafia family. Let me give you a clap in. We have a sounder for Daniel.
Yep, but you got to read his chat first.
No, I'm the boss. I can do whatever I want. I'll read it. Hinkton makes the playoffs and wins a playoff game. Hinkton?
I think he means Washington.
Washington wins a playoff game, unlike Oregon, and for the 4th straight year goes undefeated at home. I love Washington to go undefeated at home and make the playoff. That would make me so happy.
Okay.
Does Washington have the horses this year? I haven't looked. I'll be perfectly honest. I haven't. My time's been spent on house and college football playoff and some other stuff. Anyway,
here, we'll give you this one.
Yeah,
someday you'll drown in a vat of whiskey.
Down in the vat of whiskey, death, where is thy sting?
You need
the super
towel or something.
Look. Let me see if I can find one here.
Find something that fits Washington Huskies, because that's whatever
Purple
that
dogs.
That's a good one. A dog pound, everything that goes.
Here we go.
I got my Magnum condoms. I got my Wad 100s. I'm ready to plow.
Lord.
What the freak are you?
I don't know. Quit it. I'm not even gonna ask anymore. Thank you, Daniel. We appreciate the $20 super chat, dude. You're a stud. Thank you. It helps us keep the lights on. I hope you're having fun tonight. We're trying to have fun, trying to be lighthearted, considering Ute and I are ready to just anyway. Movie Time Blues checking in. Good to see you, Movie Time Blues. Simple. Ute Domers whispered sweet nothings to the power players in the group and made meaningless promises.
Yeah.
Did some art. This is a nice parlay into it, guys. Okay, so yeah, Notre Dame got what they want here. Look at this. So Notre Dame is standing on the ACC, as we all know they do, and putting up punches against the Big Ten, the SEC, and the Big 12, and getting what they want. And as a reminder, Notre Dame mascot, it's not Leprechaun, it's the Mickey here. But this is how Bomber and I are feeling today. This is how we're feeling. So check it out. So in celebration of Notre Dame and Mickey getting this basically serving pot of gold for college football playoff seeding, well, you will be drinking his first Mickey right here. Never had one of these things. Looks completely disgusting, I'll be honest with you guys. But we're going to try it right now, okay? First
All right,
Mickey.
dude. Go ahead.
Do it. Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech. Here, I'll find
Georgia Tech.
There's some people that are
play me a Georgia Tech, Moan.
Okay, Georgia Tech down.
Oh, man, that's horrible.
What is it, malt liquor?
Mickey, it's gross, man.
That's just you guys.
What is it? Is it malt liquor? What is a Mickey?
I know what a Mickey
It's like a malt liquor, dude. It is.
Oh.
I don't even know the APV on this thing. They don't put it on.
Yeah, if you're going to drink malt liquor, you got to drink Old English 40s. Come on.
Clint Moses checking in for Oregon State says, "Go Beavs." Good to have you here, Clint. Thank you so much for being a loyal viewer and a contributor. We appreciate everybody who gets involved and engages with us on Twitter and everywhere else, all our shows. Thank you so much, Clint. Let's see, Jackson Johnson again. Wait, he already said. I'll get that one. He was from X. He's just saying, there's the YouTube link. If you needed it. Let's see here. We'll scroll down. Trying to get as many new people as I can. This Notre Dame Hitler reference achieved.
I'm just saying, appeasement never works, man. Appeasement never works.
Don't get me started on history. That's, yeah. I could do multiple shows on appeasement. Tony Lawson checking in. Says Notre Dame doesn't want to join the Big Ten either. I don't think Notre Dame joins the conference ever. I've said that all along.
Yeah, why should they? They get everything they want.
I don't know. Everybody has said it's money.
We don't know what 2026 looks like, though, guys.
That's
We're making the assumption this is just going to be all Notre Dame celebration forever, but we'll see.
Joe Whitesmith, good to have you here, Joe. I'm not sure I've seen you before, so make sure you subscribe and follow us on Twitter, man. It's great to have you here. The look of the Irish, boy, it's hard to describe anything but. Yeah, absolutely right. Spot on comment there. Let's see here. Rory McManama, do I have that right? Rory McManama, good to see you. Thank you for being a new subscriber, or at least I hope you're a subscriber. Thank you very much for watching us tonight on the Big Freaking Friday show. We have a ton of fun, and I hope you enjoy it. Rory says, I don't think this was to appease Notre Dame, an appease Notre Dame thing. Rather, it was a demand of ESPN. They don't want hooping like we had with last year.
Whooping like we had last year.
Whooping?
Well, I don't think that's going to change this. Hey, listen, Ohio State was an 8 seed that had already lost to Oregon, and Oregon was a number 1 overall seed, and they got absolutely smashed.
They got boat raced. It wasn't even funny.
It was 34-8, I think, at halftime.
It was ugly. That was one of the worst football games I've ever seen.
It was beautiful.
For a number 1 seed, it was beyond embarrassing.
Yeah, but I mean that's going to happen in the playoffs, regardless of straight seeding or not. You're going to get this 9 seed, this 8 seed, this 7 seed that's going to go in there and whoop up on somebody because somebody's not prepared, or
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's.
I don't think this straight seeding resolves any of that.
No, I don't think so either. I think you're 100% right. $20 super chat from NBM, another valuable member of the Mafia family. Good to see you, NBM. Let's give him a sounder there, Moen.
Give him his cowboy.
Yeah, give him some Oklahoma State. If you have
Something
anything.
Oklahoma State.
All right, while you're thinking about that, I'll read it. I can no longer sit back and allow P2 infiltration, P2 indoctrination, P2 subversion, and the international P2 conspiracy to sap and purify college football's precious bodily fluids. And do you guys know what that's a reference to?
I do. That's
don't say it. I'm asking you. He's younger.
I don't, but like
you don't know what it's from. Moen, tell
I'm
him what
impressed.
It's from.
It's from Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb.
That's right.
His precious bodily fluids.
1963 classic. If you haven't seen it, it's one of the best movies ever made.
One of the funniest movies you'll ever see. Gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the war room.
That's right. I mean, it's beyond funny. Anyway, that's what this is a quote from, and he's exactly right.
I don't
brilliant. Super.
I don't have Dr. Strangelove on here, but I'll give you this one.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
That was from Stripes? What's that from, Moen?
All out of bubblegum.
John Carpenter's They Live, one of my favorite movies.
Oh, no. I know the quote. I never saw the movie. MBM, thank you so much for the super chat, man. $20. It helps us keep going. We really, really appreciate you. And that is one of the best super chats we've ever had. I will tell you that right now.
Precious bodily fluids. That is going to get stuck in the mind.
Anytime somebody does a Dr. Strangelove drop, I'm probably going to pull it. I'm just telling everybody, use my name or Dr. Strangelove. I'll probably hit it right away. Let's keep going here. So we had Rory. Paul Bond is a new viewer. Good to have you here, Paul. Paul. Thank you for being here. Make sure you follow us on Twitter and subscribe to this YouTube. Give us a thumbs up. Let us know how we're doing. This Notre Dame garbage is ridiculous. Time to join a conference.
I agree with Mr. Bond. Look, it's weird, too, that the narrative shift within 2 days. Remember, like 2 days ago, the Notre Dame faithful were like, oh, my gosh, we're going to have to join a conference because USC is not going to play us anymore. And then it switched to 180, and now there's like a lot of flexing and stuff. I get it. They got a lot out of this, but I don't really know where it's going to shake out in 2026, 2027. Is USC going to play Notre Dame in the future?
Why would they?
You don't know that, right? So, like, hey, straight season's great for Notre Dame, but they still need to have these big-time opponents on their schedule.
So something that I've got a gifted membership I'm going to get to in just a second, but this is what it makes me think of, you, is if you're Notre Dame, you're basically like Boise State. You can schedule anybody. Just get to the end of the season, 10-2. 11-1, heaven forbid 9-3. You're going to get in a straight seed 12 team tournament.
Yeah, it's Boise State on steroids, like you're saying. It's a piece of cake.
Yeah,
they don't even need to schedule USC. They can schedule whoever they want.
Well, and we've known all the traditions and rivalries thrown right out the window. None of it mattered. Jackson Johnson, on top of being a contributor, has also contributed a gifted membership to the College Football Mafia family. Moen, who got that thing and how'd they get it? What's it for?
Jackson Johnson has donated a gifted membership to Dustin Flaneur. Congratulations, Dustin. You are now a member of the College Football Mafia family. Make sure you thank Jackson in the chat. If you're watching us on demand, leave it in the comment section. And if anybody else would be interested in becoming a member, you can click on the little cash icon in the chat window, and you can become a member, gift a membership, leave a super chat, leave a super sticker. We try and do members-only streams once or twice a month, and then we have exclusive members-only video from Wild Ute University. So you definitely want to check that out. And Jackson, since you are an Alabama guy, you get this one.
I couldn't care less about the team struggling.
Joe Namath.
That's right.
Hollywood Joe. All right. Just to pile on what Moen just said, for one thing, if you receive a membership, consider giving one to somebody else. Pay it forward. We believe in karma around here, and I really believe good things come to those who are unselfish and give. This is what membership gets you on our channel, and I've updated it. And unfortunately, for some reason, my font is like massively huge. But there's super shows that we have just for members. And I hit the wrong button there. These are member-only video. Why don't you talk about that Miami one, Ute?
Yeah, we did the breakout of Miami Hurricanes leaving the ACC, what the financials look like based on some pretty in-depth financial modeling. So that's what we do for the members-only videos, more in-depth stuff that takes a lot of prep work, more analysis. And we have Miami. And go check out also the UNC video. That's an important one. I think that's still going to be completely relevant. I think UNC is still going to jump to the SEC as soon as humanly possible. You guys, it doesn't matter what the ACC payout structure looks like. It's so much more advantageous to jump to the SEC. UNC is going to make that move sooner than later. They're going to be in before the 2027-2028 season, the SEC.
Jackson, thank you so much again for the membership. We appreciate it, and that's really cool of you to do. Thank you so much for giving your time and energy and everything. We appreciate you so much. Let me get back to our live comments here. Sorry, I got lost. David Kreitzer, is that right? David Kreitzer, welcome to the channel. Make sure you subscribe. Give us a thumbs up and follow us on Twitter. Notre Dame doesn't want to join anyone but begged to join the Big Ten ages ago, but got shut down. You want to give a 30-second history lesson on that, Moen?
Yeah, it was close to 100 years ago. Close to 100 years ago that happened. At that same point, football was still segregated. So, I mean, things change. The fact that Notre Dame fans continue to bring up that Fielding Yost was a racist asshole 100 years ago, we get it. I agree with you. Fielding Yost is a douchebag, and his name shouldn't be on any building. He is a piece of shit. But
really tell us how you feel, Moen.
Yeah, but I mean, it's 100 years. It's a ridiculous argument. Just to me, that's just like, okay, 100 years ago when there was heavy anti-Catholic sentiment in this country, somebody was mean to Catholics. Okay, well, that happens. I mean, but there's been anti-Mormon bias against BYU, right?
Well, of course.
Yeah. So it didn't stop you from joining a conference.
Well, it kind of did for a long time.
Well,
to be perfectly honest, it was a 50-year grind.
Right. But I mean, at least, you're not going back on it and saying, oh, well, they wouldn't let us in, so I hate them from 50 years ago.
What good does it do you to complain? It's not going to fix anything.
You can have a valid reason. Say, listen, the most valid reason you have is you get everything you want. You have no reason to join a conference.
There you go.
That's don't need to bring up stuff that happened 100 years ago. It doesn't.
Who is bringing this up, Moen?
And Notre Dame fans bring this up all the time. You say, you need to join the conference. Well, we tried to join the Big Ten in 1927, and Fielding Yost blocked us.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, that was 1927. I get it. It was a different time then.
Let's get to another comment. Timothy Green, our soldier out on the East Coast, covering us from West Virginia. It's great to see you, Timothy. Thanks for all you do for us. We really appreciate you. Do we have a West Virginia sounder, Moen? I can't remember.
We've got
I think I do. Hold on.
I thought
raccoon hat guy.
Yeah, something.
Where's anyway, our
guy? Maybe a picture. Anyway, let me read this. Sorry. Let me read this right now, Timothy. This is the biggest bunch of BS I ever heard. There has to be some way we can make this fair. 4-H conference instead of favoring 2 conferences.
You give and 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 you give some more and you lose power and you give more. You have to give. You capitulate and you kind of find yourself in this position as a Big 12 fan. There's not a lot of leverage you have. It's difficult. Okay.
All right, here we go.
You got it?
Almost heaven, West Virginia.
We're going to get dinged for that. You know that, right?
No, we're not. We're not. I checked.
Too short.
Desert Father checking in. He doesn't feel sympathy at all. He says, break out the cheese with all this wine. Desert, tell us who you represent, man. Let us know your school. I'm curious.
I think he's a domer.
If you're a Notre Dame guy, hey, you won today. You won the lotto today, literally. Yeah. Anyway, let's keep going. Let's see here. We did movie time. We did our super RT. Good to have you here, RT. Another valuable member of the College Football Mafia family. I thought we didn't want Greg to walk in front of a bus. Don't push him over the edge. Moen. Don't make Greg any more upset, would you?
Cheeseburger, cheeseburger, cheeseburger.
Cheeseburger, cheeseburger.
Be nice. Be nice. His DMs were down for 24 hours, and that really made him mad. I know that. David Floyd checking in. Good to see you, David. See Texas Tech softball. I didn't see it. sorry, don't really follow softball. Tell us.
Hey, Moan, yeah,
what
can
they're
you do
doing.
that? Can you do the cash falling
Well, sure, we can
icon that we do?
I
Because
can
I
do
think
that.
that anytime we talk to Texas Tech, this is
Yeah.
basically what's happening at Texas Tech. Texas Tech softball, best pitcher in the land. They brought up from the transfer portal, bringing the dollars in. Cody Campbell, baby. It's all about straight money. All about wins at Texas Tech.
So let's talk about Texas Tech. That guy, Cody Campbell, is there
Yeah.
any possibility that he can use his billionaire influence to help the Big 12 at this point, or is the ship sailed?
I mean, that helps when you've got such influence and like such money that he's willing to throw at the Big 12. He's got a relationship with Trump for whatever that's worth. So it's just another piece of leverage and exposure for the Big 12. And so it can't hurt. It's not going to hurt. How much is going to help? We'll see.
Very fair. David Floyd says, see Texas Tech softball. And then Secret Agent says, what is it? It's the World Champions World Series? No. What's WCWS? Somebody correct me. What does that mean, Mo?
Not sure.
It has to mean softball, right? It has to
Women's College World Series.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Nice.
Shout out Texas Tech, Secret Agent. It's good to see you. Sorry, we're not really up. Actually, you knew more about softball than I've ever learned, I think. I don't know much about softball. OPD Don, another valuable member of the Mafia family, says, do they have buses in Minnesota?
They've got buses in Minnesota.
Yeah, I don't know either.
They've got cheeseburgers too. That Juicy Lucy that Greg needs to eat.
Bagman, good to have you here. A new watcher. We make sure please subscribe to the channel and follow us on Twitter and do all the notifications things. We love having you around. Thank you so much for being here tonight. What's going on? Someone give it to me. So this was done 20 minutes ago. If you haven't figured it out, we're talking about the new college football playoff announcement and how Notre Dame beat the world and the Big 12, the ACC are pretenders. That's what we're talking about, Bagman.
And I'm having Crown Apple, and it's awful.
And I'm having a Mickey, and I've had one sip, and I feel like I'm going to throw up from it already. So
that's great.
Somebody said it was like a Jolly Rancher. That is exactly what it is like. It is like drinking a green apple Jolly Rancher. Like you don't even get the whiskey in it anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. Alcohol isn't the answer. That's all I'm saying. Let's see here. I got lost. I apologize. There it is. What's the news? Okay, we're scrolling down. Timothy Replica. Good to see you, Replica. Another valuable member of the Mafia family. You should probably reserve judgment until 2026 format is finalized. I don't think they agreed to this without getting something in return, and I don't think the $8 million is what they're getting. Let me propose something to you, How it might take a minute, but maybe we should do a member show just on what they could have gotten. What do you think about doing something to cover what the Big 12 and the ACC traded out?
Like what they gave up here?
Yeah, what's the possible trade-off for 1 year pandemonium, essentially?
The cost-benefit analysis of something like that. We have to think about that. It's a great question, and Replica's speaking to that right here. What is the Big 12 and ACC going to get in return for giving up straight seeding? And my hope is the 3 auto bids each. I really hope it's that. That would be a prayer. Though,
so you think the A4 all get 3 teams in? That's what you're hoping for?
So I'm hoping that in the future it's a 4-4-3-3 model in some way, shape, or form. Like that would be best case scenario if you could negotiate that. Seems like kind of stretchy, but maybe it's that 4-4-3-2 model. Even having that 3-2 for ACC and Big 12 and having that playoff, it's been discussed. A play-in game from the ACC and the Big 12 is better than just having a 2-2 straight. So I just want another piece of access, a third team to possibly get in from the Big 12 or the ACC in exchange for this.
Moen, what do you think about that? What they might have given up? I know you don't have
I don't think they have a guarantee on that. I think that they're trying to be good partners because they believe that's not off the table yet. They still think that's a possibility.
Well, we know Yormark does that because he's a deal maker. That's why they brought him in to do those exact
things. They
things.
think it's a possibility, so they're saying, okay, let's be good partners. we agree with straight seeding for 2025. 2026 rolls around and we come up with this new format. Maybe then we can get, like you said, the 3 autos, or
This quote is just brutal, though. Brett Yormark, today's decision might not be the best thing for the Big 12, but it was the best thing for college football. I'm dead serious, guys. That sounds like somebody who just lost a war. I don't see any positivity in that quote at all. I hope what's best for college football continues to be the priority in any discussions moving forward. If you lose, you can still spin it, right? Germany was losing World War II for virtually the entire 6 years. It was only ahead for about 22 months. And then when that happened, all of a sudden, they have nothing but positive, even though they're getting their asses kicked all over the place. As far as Germany people were concerned, they were on the edge of winning. So how do you come out with this passive, I hope?
Again, I think he wants to put forth this image of a willing partner.
A cooperation is basically
cooperation. And you might be right. You are right. The Big Ten and the SEC ain't going to care. They ain't going to care. They've got all the power in 2026. They're working together. You don't need to worry about it. There's, but.
Yeah. Stormy Cyclone checking in. Good to see you, Stormy. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Stormy is an OG at this point. Been with us a very long time. We appreciate you, Stormy. Not only your loyalty, but all the content you give us. We're not here for us. We're here for you. So thank you so much for being here tonight.
Go.
Hi, guys. 3 months till Ireland. That's pretty cool. Iowa State.
Armageddon in Ireland, guys.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to that game.
Here's your Irish drink right here. This Mickey's. Don't ever drink one of these. And anybody never drink this drink.
Could you imagine BYU and Utah in Ireland? That would be the world versus BYU, I guarantee you. You could not get more Catholic than regular Ireland.
Just give us BYU, Utah, and Vegas. That's what I want. Not in Ireland. We want Vegas.
Look, I want lights wherever it is. I don't care. I just want the focus.
Yep. Here we go. This is.
Go ahead.
Pain heals. Chicks dig scars. Glory lasts forever.
That's Shane Footsteps Falco, the great quarterback from Ohio State.
Okay. Greg,
let him cook.
Great, I don't care. Let him cook. Doesn't matter to me. Greg Flugar gave us another comment. What is the highest ranked Big 12 team right now in these way too early rankings? Arizona State. It isn't. I haven't seen any Big 12 team higher than 9.
Yeah.
Greg. I might have missed one. There might have been a poll, from a writer or something that had them higher, but I don't think so. And now with the problems at BYU for quarterback, I don't even know it's really unfortunate timing. Everything for the Big 12 and the ACC right now. Everything is. Thanks, Greg, for your comment. We appreciate it.
ASU is going to lose 2 games at least this year, guys. I mean, they've got a tough schedule.
They do have a tough schedule.
They've got Utah. They've got a bunch of other schools. They're not going to go undefeated. They're not going to go 11-1.
I don't even think they're
going
to go 10-2. I don't think 10-2 either.
Yeah, 10-2 for any Big 12 school is going to be a stretch.
Yep, I would unfortunately have to agree with you.
How many Big 12 schools do you think make the playoff this year?
One.
There's only 12 teams. You're only going to get the conference champion in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Saw that last year. BYU totally got jobbed. Beating SMU at SMU. And
it was a double job though, Nate, because you deserved that, but you weren't even talked about as a bubble team, really.
Nope. 17.
That's the problem, Owen, is like the ranking narrative and everything with this straight seeding.
That's exactly right. And what I've been saying for 3 years, as long as I've been doing social media. That is the problem. It's the perception issue.
Yeah.
It's absolutely true. Absolutely true. The money is perception, right? Money's based on people watching the games. The more popular you are, the more people watch. The more airtime you get. More airtime you get, more people watch. Right? It just feeds on itself. It's just brutal. I'm trying not. Hey, Liverpool won the league. All right, that's what I wanted to wear, my Liverpool jersey. They won the Premier League going away. They've actually been celebrating for 4 weeks. So that's why I've got my Liverpool gear on. I am happy about that. They're going to finish the season.
We know who else is happy? Mickey. Mickey's very happy right here. Mickey's having a good old time.
That's a fantastic movie, by the way. The original Leprechaun.
The Leprechaun.
Wasn't that rated the worst movie ever made?
No.
I think
Jennifer Aniston in it. It's great.
What?
Yeah, she was in Friends.
Her first movie.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
I thought
I've seen it on a list. It was the worst movie ever made. I know I have.
I think the funniest part is like the way to defeat the Leprechaun is just keep throwing shoes at him because they have to polish shoes.
I never saw Leprechaun, so I don't. Does not surprise me that Mo and Vision has watched the Leprechaun. You probably got that on your feed, right?
No, not that one. That's a full moon picture. Those are all locked in behind the full moon vault.
All right. Well, as soon as that copyright runs out, Leprechaun will be leading at moandvision.com.
That's right.
Pitt Snipe Husker. Good to see you. Hey, y'all. Good to have you here, Pitt Snipe. Appreciated your comment when I was talking to Bob on Wednesday. Thanks for being at that show. Rock and Rant, again, contributor, moderator with the Wrench, and also a member of the Mafia family. The fact that Jim Phillips and Yormark talked about looking out for the best interest in college football when no one has done so for a decade was just ludicrous. Yeah.
Gee, it's just, give us something.
You know what? I think you hit it though. I think it is absolutely now. Next steps are how desperate our team's going to be to get out of their conferences into the SEC and the Big Ten. And I'm not talking about giving me a half share. I'm talking about let's go the SMU route. Just get me.
Oh gosh, yeah. We know that Duke's willing to deal. Moen, you've talked about Duke before. Yeah. Duke is willing to do anything it takes to get out of the ACC.
Yeah, they would do it from what I've heard, they would do it for free. They would go the SMU route where, hey, let us in and you don't have to pay us anything.
Duke would do that. They would go SMU, full SMU, just to get into
Duke has enough money to do that, though, Ute.
But like Duke is Duke. I mean, like it's not a small brand. Like it's one of the biggest speedball brands in the world.
Hey, look, Washington and Oregon went in at half rate, and they were like at the top of the mark when they went into the Big Ten. Half rate. I don't know. Look, if BYU could get in tomorrow and wouldn't make any money for 10 years, I would be ecstatic.
Oh yeah, that's a no-brainer still, right? For any school to take nothing just to get in.
Just to get in the dance. That's it.
Yep.
Dave's here. Good to have you here, Dave. I hope you're still here. This was done half hour ago, so I appreciate seeing you. No way Washington's going to the playoffs this year. If you look at the schedule, they have Oregon and OSU on the schedule, and we'll drop another one, my team or not. Dave, who is your, I can't tell by your logo. Is your team on there? Are you a Washington State guy? Well, good to have you here regardless. Make sure you subscribe, Dave. I know I've seen you before, but make sure you subscribe and follow us on Twitter. Thank you so much. Moen, you're in trouble. Alcohol causes ED.
Yeah. My girlfriend would disagree with you, but she's going to end up drinking a bunch of Apple Crown Royal because this stuff is disgusting.
We're not going to talk about why she needs to drink that alcohol, Moen. Joe Z, good to see you, Joe. I had Mickey's once, threw it up.
This Mickey's, I don't recommend the Mickey's. No,
it's not sitting.
I mean, it's fine. Like I'm fine over here, but like it's not a recommendation.
What is the alcohol content on that? It's like 3%.
It doesn't have it. It doesn't have it on the label. I have no idea.
So it can't have alcohol then.
Oh, it has alcohol.
It has alcohol. It's malt liquor.
Well, then it has to. Okay, yeah, I don't know. I
thought
it had to be logoed up. I thought you had to put that.
It's got it on there somewhere.
It's got to be.
There's nothing on this thing.
Maybe wait a second. Maybe you have to pee on the wrapper and it'll appear. Right.
You got to find the pot of the gold.
So
there's nothing on this thing.
Go to the bathroom, pee on it, come back, and it'll be a secret code telling you what your alcohol content is. Take it from me, I promise.
Mickey.
Ramblin' Ryan, good to see you, Ramblin' Ryan. Heck yeah, he's all in support of the Shamrocks, which is Notre Dame. Yeah, you got it, Ramblin' Ryan. You guys absolutely won the lottery. You win. Michael Wheeler, I've never tried Mickey's. Okay, well, I'm not sure you want to try it now. These aren't exactly people jumping all over the place.
By the way, it's 5.6. It's 5.6.
Oh,
that's nothing, man. That's like, it's less APV than like an IPA.
Yeah, that's not. That's. I'm looking for more new comments. This is what we do Friday nights, guys. Let's do a quick reset. Thank you for being here, everybody. This is the Big Freakin' Friday show on the College Football Mafia Network. I'm your host, Nathan Bomber Brown. We got Wild Ute sitting right there. Below us is Moen After Dark. Also Moen Vision on. It's still on YouTube, right, Moen?
Nope.
What's it called now?
It's not on YouTube anymore. It's on
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I moved it to a different site.
Oh.
Because I kept getting false copyright claims. And people kept taking my restorations.
Can you say it now? Or are they going to ding you or something?
You can find me on Twitter. You find me on Twitter. And you can
okay. All right. Well, I didn't realize I was talking in code. I didn't mean to do that. I wasn't trying to catch anybody out. Anyways, so this is what we do on Fridays. We just try to have fun. Ute and I are very depressed about the college football playoff negotiations and how out of nowhere on a Friday news dump we find out that if you're not Notre Dame, you lost in this next college football playoff, 12-team straight seeding. And
I think Ohio State won too. It seems like Ohio State won.
Maybe.
I mean, like they didn't need it, but it's good for Big Ten and SEC. SEC really scored.
Yeah.
Well, okay, that's fair.
I'll send you a link, Greg.
What? You're not talking.
Flugar wants to join us. So I was just.
What? All right, if he wants to, we've got time. Cougar Tracks, good to see you too, Cougar Tracks. You and I are both not feeling good right now, but hey, that's life, right? Let's just try to do better.
You want to talk about that at all?
No, not at all.
Okay.
No.
Fair enough.
It's not about the person, it's the topic. I don't even want to.
I'm okay with that.
You don't care who it is, what it is. Yeah, if you're dropping in the comments things about BYU, simply we'll just ignore you. Just letting you guys know.
Hey, I gotta jump in this message right here.
Sure, go ahead. You bet.
MBM. So he says that on the check it out. So on the Mickeys, can you see this?
Yeah, I can see it.
I don't see any APV.
Yeah, that's weird. That's really weird.
Maybe on the bigger Mickeys, not the small one.
Interesting. Is Flugar joining us or what?
I sent him the link.
Okay, Seminole School. Good to see you, Seminole School. How's FSU feeling right now? You guys are desperate to get out of the ACC, I promise you. You guys should be marching on whatever the center of your campus is and demanding leaving. Doesn't matter where. Go independent at this point. You're better off independent than you are in the ACC.
Oh, hell yeah. Look at Notre Dame. They're independent. They get everything they want. I'm thinking Ohio
There's
State
been comments in my head. There's been comments in my head. I think BYU ought to go back and do it again. They have a better chance independent.
I mean,
than they would. It's just incredible how one-sided it's just, I don't know. You can't tell I'm upset or anything.
I mean, BYU's boosters will really come out though.
It's true. Yeah, no, that's right.
You don't want to go back independent because it's hard to rev up the booster base.
Yeah, I'm being facetious.
Something you got to think about, though.
But it's the reality of the thing that I'm going through. The mechanics of the 12-team straight seeding. We have to believe, we're crossing our fingers, something. I just keep coming back to that comment from Brent Yormark. I don't even. Once the ACC gets picked apart, MBM says the A3 needs to pinch Notre Dame out of the CFP to force them into a conference. Preferential treatment is only for the elderly and the infirm and veterans. Yeah, I would. Ute and I want that. I promise you, it has nothing to do with the ACC. It has to do with the survival of the Big 12. Plain and simple. You want to add anything to that, Ute?
No.
Okay. We are going to keep going on our comments here because I'm waiting. Waiting for Greg Flugar to join us. There he is.
Yeah,
give him. All right, Greg, peek around the corner.
You're
Greg
live,
Trugar,
Greg.
you are live and in charge, man. What's going on tonight?
Thank you, Moen. Thank you, Nathan Brown. Thank you, Wild Youth. I know it's tough to listen to my voice and look at this mug right before a 3-day weekend. I might have missed something here. I was watching you guys earlier, but I had to step away. And I do apologize if you've talked about this, but have you talked about the possible double bye?
Yeah, I said that to Notre Dame. I did, yeah.
Well, the double bye.
No, not that double bye. Because that's why I wanted to join you all, because I was rolling on the floor laughing when you guys were talking about this. But it's not really it's not a double bye for Notre Dame. It's a possible
triple bye
for Notre Dame.
That's true. Yeah.
Did you guys talk about that one concept, that one idea that Ross Dellinger posted?
Please do. Please tell us.
Okay. So I'm kind of glad I can say it, but I'm also fearful because I think Wild Youth is gonna heel over and Moen is gonna slam his apple, whatever he's drinking. So he reported that there was this one new idea that they're talking about, which is going to help them be able to schedule around the NFL end of their regular season, NFL playoffs, a 16-team playoffs, but 16 plays 13, 15 plays 14. Okay. The winner of those two games then will join seeded teams of 3 through 12. Okay. And then the winner of those 6 games joins the number 1 and number 2 seed, top 2 seeds. And then that's your quarterfinal. So
Ross Dellinger made this up, or Ross
Dellinger report. I did my whole live basically my whole live show on this.
Okay.
It was in Ross Dellinger. I can try to. I'm gonna send this to you here, Nathan.
Well, let's get the link up and take a look at that.
Yeah. Let me.
We can put it up there. Just put it in the comments.
Hold on a second.
Sorry, private chat. Put it in private chat. I did not hear about this. I'm a little already convoluted.
Yeah. Well, this is going to make it a little bit. Okay.
You see it? Private chat there on the right?
Yeah. No, I'm just going to hold on a second.
While you're doing that, I'm going to grab a super chat here really quick. Greg, Mositox. Moen, how is that?
It's Mosito.
An hour behind, but Lol Moen, ACC grabbing ankles.
I sent it to your X account, Nathan. I just put it out there in public.
Okay.
And then if you see my post, go to where there's a paragraph picture.
Oh, I see it.
Okay, and then put that up on your screen here.
Yeah, give me a.
And I want to watch Wild Youth reaction.
Okay.
Wait, so we're talking a double bye. It's like Notre Dame.
We'll be able to see it.
But in theory, for Notre Dame, it could be a triple bye.
Yeah, I even think without this special idea.
What you talking about?
Because you don't play a championship game, you don't play a play-in game, you don't play the second round game.
So we'll go through this. Good to see you, Mosito. Thank you very much for your super chat.
Thank you, Mosito.
Okay, so let's bring this up really quick.
Yeah, bring the paragraph up. Don't forget about
All right.
Do whatever you want.
Man, you're bossy. All right, Greg says championship games still provide some value under the proposed format. Conference champions may earn one of 2 coveted double buys in the quarterfinals. A 16-team bracket is expected to necessitate a schedule shuffle of playoff games in December, as reported last week by Yahoo Sports. Under one idea, 2 CFP games will be played the second weekend of December when Army Navy traditionally meet and when no NFL games are scheduled. Winners of those 2 first-round games, number 13 hosting 16, 14 hosting 15, would advance to bracket of 10 waiting teams. So at this point, we're talking 16. The top 2 seeded conference champions would be waiting in the quarterfinal games on New Year's Day or New Year's Eve. Basically, what this reads is SEC, Big Ten get double buys. That's what that says.
I guess, like, trying to get my mind around this, we're talking about 16 teams in a college football playoff,
Yes.
but then we're not even doing, like, you know, everyone. There's bye systems within a 16-team format.
Broken. Just broken.
Like, isn't that the point of going to 16 teams? So everybody plays like in the first, second, third rounds?
It's broken.
So
that's really broken.
Like, is this legitimate, or is this like? This
has got to be a trial balloon. Something out there to draw attention. Has to be. It can't be real.
That's.
This is best for college football. This is best for college football.
Okay.
This is stupid. Is what it is.
I'm gonna try to control myself here.
Okay. All right.
So I reached out to somebody and I pointed this report out. And basically, the reason why this is an idea is because this would be a way to do an end around NFL. Like, okay, so 2026 playoffs, if it's 16 teams, there's really not a media agreement with ESPN on that yet, right?
Right.
And so the college football playoff management people, they want to present ESPN the best valued playoffs they can present so they can get the most money coming back to us all, right?
Okay.
So the best format to present is to avoid NFL as much as possible. Also, they don't want, if you got 8 first round games, then you're going to have to figure out, is it going to be like 4 games a day, or is it going to be 3 games? If it's going to be 3 days, 2 on a Friday, 3 on a Saturday, 3 on a Sunday, you're bumping up against NFL. So this is an idea concept motivated because of that. Although there could be other nefarious reasons too. But so you're looking at now I don't want to get the language confused here. You're looking at a 16-team playoff, a possible play-in of the 16-team playoffs, where 16 plays 13, 14 plays 15. Right. Then those 2 winners play 3 versus 12. So now you got your, now you got your 12 teams lined up to play in the second round. And then the 6 winners will join 1 and 2. So you could have an 11-1, 12-0 Notre Dame not play a championship game, not play a play-in game, not play a second round game, but wait all the way into the quarterfinals. While you could have a BYU or Utah have to play a championship game or be a loser in a play-in game and then play, or any of us, I'm just giving you an example.
Right.
Then you have to play that 16 or 15, 14, 13 playing. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I was wondering if you guys had seen that, because you guys were talking about a double bye for Notre Dame. It could be a triple bye for Notre Dame.
Yeah, I had
this, Greg. You know what I think about this?
Go ahead, dude.
I want to tell you exactly what I think about this. Look at Mickey here. Look at Mickey eating his Juicy Lucy right here. I mean, this stinks, though. Like, seriously, if this idea happens, because the Big 12, I mean, like, it's going to screw the Big 12 so bad and everything, and you're going to get your Notre Dames, your Ohio States with the 1-2 seeds, with multiple buys, 3 buys, 2 buys, whatever. Just make it. Just get them in the dang championship game.
So
at this point, stuff like what?
Let's consider this. You know, realignment we've been talking about for more than 2 years. Greg's been on it 4 years or more. And we're talking about teams trying to get into the Big Ten or the SEC. And some are going to be desperate. I really think that some of these schools are going to do whatever they can to get in, even giving away almost all their money, because it's about access now. You have to be in the club. But on top of that, it's negative for the conferences. You don't want to expand. There's no need to expand because you have CFP access, and less teams you have, the more money each team gets at the end for the payoff. So why expand and add more teams? You could say TV. You could say TV market. You could say just because donors want to do this, we want to get whatever the reasons are. From a conference standpoint, it's a disincentive to expand.
In some ways, it is, but you got to keep in mind though, going forward, starting in 2026. The playoff distribution model is per school, not per conference. So when you expand your conference, you're not chopping up the slices smaller for the schools within the conference. So keep that in mind. Also,
well, I didn't hear that report. Where did that come?
Yeah. So starting in 2026,
right?
Every Big Ten team, for example, is going to make $21 million per school when playoff distribution. Now they make $6 million, so it's going to be an increase of $15 million. Right. Every SEC team, Southeastern Conference team is going to make right now. Now this could change, be adjusted over a little bit, but every SEC team is going to make $23 million per school. Notre Dame's going to be making about 14. They're going to be making 15 million. So they're not going to enjoy what they've been enjoying here the last year where they raked up all that money.
40 million.
That's not how it's going to be starting in 2026. So that's one of the disadvantages that Notre Dame is going to be getting. ACC teams are going to be about 14 million. Every Big 12 team's going to get about 12.7. The numbers aren't quite. I'm not being completely accurate here. So for example, one of the incentives to grab a Florida State and Clemson would be your conference would get bumped in playoff distribution money per school, because that is going to change the percentages of your conference and how many conference champions you've had over the last decade.
Wouldn't it go down, not up?
It would go up. The conference that grabs them would go up.
Right.
Well, the conference would go up, but each team would get a little bit less because they have to.
No, it isn't per conference. It's per team. They would get a little bit more in the conference that lost Clemson and Florida State. Each of those schools would get a little less. That's how they. It's
I think he's saying it's dependent. It's dependent on the schools, Bomber, because Clemson and Florida State have such a long history of winning ACC championships.
Oh, I see what you're talking about.
They're more valuable. So when you bring them into your.
So if it was Wake Forest, it wouldn't be the same. That's what.
No.
Okay.
No.
Right. Thank you for. I appreciate that.
So there is some, and of course, who knows what the future is, right? I mean, it's like we don't know. I mean, the auto bids could change.
It's brutal.
It's just you. There is
Greg, let's talk about something real quick, okay? Like what? How did Brett Yormark allow this to happen? Like this came out of left field. Nobody was talking about this. There was momentum for a 4-4-3-3. I know that you didn't think that was going to happen. Nobody really did, but that talk at least was moving. It felt like it was moving the needle a little bit on more leverage for Big 12. And this comes out in this complete capitulation. Is there something that we're not talking about or not hearing? What's going on? What are the Big 12? What are the ACC going to get out of this street seating?
I don't know, but they better get something out of this because they just wasted a year. I know they're getting the same amount of money, right? They're going to get that $8 million. So even if BYU wins the Big 12, they go to the playoffs, but they have to play in the first round and they lose, they're still going to get paid like they made it to the second round.
Right.
But still, that doesn't seem to be enough. I don't know. This is all 95% of what I'm about to say is speculation. Okay? But I'm not saying it ain't going to be 4-4-3-3. I just don't think it's going to be, because I don't think the SEC would. I don't think it's going to happen, but I don't know that. Obviously, I don't know that for sure. I have been pretty strong on the 4-4 for the Big Ten and the SEC because we got cued in on something last September about the media partners.
Right.
I mean, this has sort of been gamed out for quite a while. Right. But maybe Big Ten and SEC have to get off that ledge for whatever other reasons. I don't think so, but they could. But what I had heard from a friend of this program, is there was some scuttlebutt on this compromise. God, I don't know if I'm going to get yelled at, chewed at, or Wild Ute and Nathan are going to applaud this. It could be one of those three. I don't know which one. Right? But there was this scuttlebutt of a 4-4, 2.5.
Right.
So. And I think, that has truly been talked about. I don't know. Maybe Yormark and Phillips have sort of said, okay, we're going to get a playing game where we're going to split the revenue somehow, maybe switch locations every other year. We kind of build this thing up. And because the Big Ten and SEC might be willing to do that, we're going to do the straight seedings in 25. I'm just throwing that out there.
That's a win. That's a win. Yeah.
Other than that, I don't know. I don't have an answer.
Let's get to some comments really quick, and then you can go next. Sergeant Pickle's been a member for 21 months. He's been a contributor for basically the same amount of time. I appreciate you, Pickles. Again, thank you for your service. If you came to us late, it is Memorial Day weekend. We salute all those veterans, past, present, and in the future, that help honestly protect us. Most people don't understand the sacrifices they go through, so we're very grateful for them. Thank you for Pickles and Becky. And if there's anybody else I'm missing, don't take it personal. Got a lot in my head today, but thank you very much for your service. Pickle says Yormark and Phillips folded like a $5 tent. That's isn't even $5. I think it's like 30-cent tent. Mosito checked out and corrected his spelling from his earlier $2 super chat. Said it is Moen and not Morn. So you want to make sure we get that out there. And last one, super chat from Rock and Rant. Wild Ute just launched his own rocket. His head. Not sure what that means. Do you guys know what that means? Maybe I
don't know, but it's funny.
Yeah,
so I'll Georgia Tech to that.
Go ahead, Ute.
So this 2.5 idea is actually kind of brilliant. And like, think about this though. So if Big 12 in 2026, if Big 12 and ACC eliminate conference championship games,
have a play,
and then the highest ranked teams in both conferences get the auto bids, and then your third place teams play off for that last spot at the higher ranked of the ACC or the Big 12, that's a lot of juice. That sounds real fun. So forget conference championship games, make that the conference championship game. Big 12 third, ACC third for an automatic bid.
You don't want that. I get the Notre Dame aspect of it, but you don't want that championship game in the Big 12 because that's a lot of money, and that's a lot of branding. That's a lot of.
That's why it won't go away. What we're saying is it would be great if it did for that perspective, because you're playing not only an extra game, but you're playing a game for your survival, just access. You're not playing to advance where you currently sit. Here's the quote, Brett Yormark, Greg. Today's decision might not be the best thing for Big 12, but it was the best thing for college football. I hope what's best for college football continues to be the priority in any decisions made.
In that voice, just like that. Maybe.
So passive. It's exactly what it is. How can you be excited about something like that?
Right. And Phillips said basically the same thing.
He did. I just didn't pull his quote.
But isn't that kind of, I think might be a clue on something. They basically use the same language.
They did. Almost word for word.
That very well could be coordinated. And if
I'm positive it was coordinated.
And if it's coordinated, then they must be getting something. Like they're saying, hold off. Like they must be getting something. But I don't know what that is, other than what we just speculated on.
All right, Moen wants to go through a bunch of sounders. Go ahead, Moen.
Yep, let's get one for Sergeant Pickles.
As many as you want. I love it.
We owe one for Masito.
There we go.
And let's do.
Come on.
Flesh wound.
Moan is the worst.
You stupid bastard, you've got no arms left. Yes, I have. Just a flesh wound.
And let's get one for Greg while he's here. I know I've got a special one for Greg.
Is that your fight song there,
You
Greg?
enjoy that one, Greg?
Absolutely not.
Okay, whose fight song is that? I don't know.
Wisconsin.
Is it?
That's on Wisconsin.
Bleeping Wisconsin.
Moen, what are you doing? He's here as a guest. You're beating on him?
I know, but Ryan Willie's probably watching this on demand. And
Yeah, where's Ryan Willie?
Oh, boy.
That's what I took a shot at Jeremiah Smith today, so that's okay.
Coos, good to see you, Coos. Appreciate you being here tonight, man. Keep that going. You're 2.7 million views on your YouTube site. That's incredible, brother. It's totally salute to you and all your hard work.
Absolutely.
He says it's time for the P2 to acquiesce and make some concessions or face a PR nightmare. So that's what we've been holding out, right? Ute and I have been holding this sort of lockbox way behind, but we thought for sure, for certain, Brett Yormark's going to come in here and he's going to do something to change the calculus. And let me ask you this, all three of you. Is it possible this announcement right now and the reaction that the public is giving will actually dictate what 26 looks like? And I'll give you a comparison. When they tried to do the Super League for soccer in Europe, every team that was included, including Liverpool, they rose up, right? If you're at Birmingham or if you're at, I don't know, Bournemouth or something, you did not want a Super League. You don't want Liverpool leaving and going playing anywhere else. You want Liverpool sitting right in front of you. And it was all a PR nightmare, and the thing basically shut down in 3 or 4 days. Incredible. After spending tens of millions of dollars trying to make it work. Is it possible public reaction right now is like a barometer trying to tell them whether they can get away with this or not? That's an open question for all three of you.
I think so. And then I think that you need to look at your schools like Ohio State, Bama, the biggest brands. They need to be supportive of that. You mentioned Liverpool. Liverpool fans didn't really want to make that move, right? It wasn't just external. Like they're just like, no, we're not doing this, right?
I wanted to because I thought it was elite. But yeah.
But there's like protests and stuff from Liverpool fans. And so if you're Ohio State, your Michigans fought against it. Because they're the biggest brands, they've got the most influence, the biggest fan base. They can make that change. It's a lot harder for smaller brands to make that change, especially when it's benefiting the big conferences and the big brands so much. It's a little bit different dynamic than Premier League.
Greg, what do you think about
it?
Big picture. We're talking 30,000 feet, something down the road where you're drawing a future that from 26 to 30, 31 is probably going to be set, right? They're not going to tinker with this thing every year.
I hope not. I hope
I don't think so.
I hope hopefully whatever we get in 2026 stays. Although we might have material realignment between those two dates of 26.
Let's go.
Well, realignment, that's we love realignment.
There you go. What about the PR hit that the Big 12's going to get when they poach the ACC?
I love it. Let's go.
Let's go, Greg.
I want that right now. I want that to happen right now.
I think a couple of big news items that we all covered and we thought it was big news, but I think it turned out to be even bigger news. And I think Moen was way more accurate than I was on this, is when SEC and the Big Ten formed that advisory group. I thought that thing was, okay, blah, blah, blah. They want to make sure they don't stab each other in the front. They'll stab each other in the back later on. Because we all witnessed what happened when there was this alliance between the Pac-12 and the ACC and the Big Ten. That was a joke. But I think this advisory group has had a great effect on the future. And also, we had heard now it's coming out in public that the SEC has sort of said to the Big Ten, "Hey, can you guys support us on really making sure that everybody sticks to this House settlement rules when it comes to the Deloitte and the enforcement arm and all that, and in return, we'll finally acquiesce and say, okay, we are also for the 4 auto bids." I think all that happened, and then we heard reports just a couple of weeks ago that the SEC coaches are really for the 4 auto bids, and so I think it's just. I don't think we're going to see an Alabama or Georgia kind of rise up and say, this ain't good for college. This ain't good, whatever. I think this is so far down the tracks when it comes to that part of the playoffs. I don't know. I mean, I don't know exactly what this is going to look like. But I'm more nervous. I've never been really nervous about 2031. Never really. I've always said, if there's a breakaway, it's going to happen in 2031. It ain't going to happen now. I've always said that. But now I'm actually thinking 2031. I think I'm getting a little nervous. Those clocks where they say we're at 11:50. We're 10 minutes away from
doomsday
midnight.
clocks.
Doomsday clock. Right. And I think we're kind of at 9 o'clock right now. And I've always had us at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, but I think we're at 9 o'clock in the evening.
And you're talking about a poll away from
something horrific, which I've never. I'm 100% against any of this stupidity, but. I think we would be fools to fall asleep at the wheel when it comes to like this new governance that we're going to be under.
Right.
The autonomy 4. And if we all agree we're 65% of the vote and we're kumbaya, we're locked in arms. Yeah. You know what? We're locked in and on all these issues that really are not as important as the college football playoff issues, right? Where the real money is, where the real access is, where the real branding is, where the real exposure is. It is all these other things like getting together and making sure we run the national softball tournament in this way because we're taking things away from the NCAA and it's going in this new governance between the 4 conferences. All those are important issues, but they're not the ones that really divide us. They're not. So I think people are being like, I've heard some comments even in my chat room and stuff saying, well, we're together. We're all good now. We're not all good. We're not. I don't. So I'm getting more nervous about 2031 than I've ever been. To be honest,
I continue to believe, and I believe they're going to come up with some structure that has nothing to do with the conferences. In fact, with this announcement with the straight seating, I'm believing in it even more. Because what's the purpose of a conference anymore? What's the advantage? You're getting the payout for the conference, right? The SEC and Big Ten paying out big money. But you riddle me this: couldn't Alabama, couldn't Georgia, couldn't Ohio State and Michigan go independent and make probably double what they're going to take from just being in the Big Ten and sharing, using the milking principle? I don't know why you would want to stay in a conference if you have the same access. Notre Dame can be number 1 and get the double, triple bye.
Well, it's being a standalone is pretty. It's really different. I don't think they would make more money. Notre Dame don't make more tier 1 money than they don't. They don't. They're NBC they've always been behind the Big Ten and the SEC. Now,
but what I'm saying is the championship is not about money. It's about access. It's about getting into that top whatever number is to compete for a championship. They're not playing for. I mean, the money
Yeah.
can't be the goal.
Sure, no question about it. Here in the future, Notre Dame has got their access pretty well played out. But Notre Dame, which also is important to Notre Dame, is where to put their other sponsored sports, right?
Yeah.
Well, they've said it. Bavakwa just said it. Swarbrick just said it. They got to have their sports in a conference where they gives them the best exposure, the best.
But I'm only talking about football. I'm talking about outside.
Okay. All right. Well, football, yeah. I mean, Notre Dame. But when you bundle content together, it's almost always more valuable. I mean, look at the Texas Longhorns.
They had their own channel.
Well, and it was terrible. No one
paid a lot of money for it, though.
Okay, they paid a lot of money for it, but why did they move into the SEC then?
Access.
Well, and exposure. Nobody watched the Longhorn Network. It was a money loser for ESPN because they couldn't put enough live content on that channel. The reason because they didn't have enough content. The Big Ten Network, the SEC network, when they wrap up their content on these non-revenue sports, most of them are non-revenue sports, they squeeze out more juice out of those sports. That's why they created the networks, for the branding, for the subscriptions, to get more money out of those non-revenue sports.
72 team. There is no doesn't matter what conference you're in.
Yeah.
You play an entire 72 plays each other for an entire year, puts a tournament together and play. That's worth way more money.
The problem is they don't want to. Like, we've had this conversation.
I don't know how it's worth way more money. That's been my. I don't.
Well, they already. What was it? Project Rudy offered some ridiculous money. It was $10 billion or something.
And for what though? We don't know. We
did. We knew it was 70 teams, right?
But that was big private equity coming on, and we don't know what.
Well, we don't know where the money's coming from. That's what I'm saying. If you're gonna have a championship, you've already disincentivized championship games.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want your champion to play that week. You've already disincentivized being in a big conference. It's better to be in a small conference and win every year, and the money will come.
Nate, I just don't think they want to. They don't want to do that. Like, that makes sense. You can make a business case for it, but like, Ohio State does not want to do that. And like, the one thing is there's inherent advantages in the current structure versus a Rudy structure, because if you're Ohio State, you're scoring in every way. Like, why would you want to leave that? Like, you've got all the advantages.
But you're not leaving anything, is my point. You don't change anything.
Like, why would you even change any of the status quo because you're winning in that environment so much? Why would you give anybody else an advantage and disadvantage yourself? Like, that's really what it's getting down to the root. So I don't think that I agree with Greg. It's interesting in 2030. Like, is there going to be a pull away of the SEC and the Big Ten in its current iterations? And the only thing I can think of to that is like the only current defense is having Notre Dame as independent, Florida State in the ACC, and Clemson in the ACC. Those are basically the last three wedge pieces that are significant enough in football that makes it so you can't really make that argument to completely pull away. But once those three, if they jump in those two conferences, I don't know what else you do. You lost every leverage point.
Really quick, I want to shout out Earl Carr, who we haven't seen for a long time. Earl, where have you been? An absolute, I don't know what, 22 months, almost 2 years being a member. Earl, it's great to see you. I've missed you, brother. There we go. There's a good cougar for you. It's great to see you. Thanks for being here tonight, providing some moral support for me. I appreciate it. All right, sorry about that. Didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, so they don't want to. So there's no way that you can make them unless you get the legal system involved, and we know how messy that is.
Yeah, I don't know the legal part.
I guess, like, from the Big 12 and ACC standpoint, like, how do you make a system where it's so attractive that the teams want to stay without jumping? That's the question. That's the real good question that we need to be asking. Is it private capital? Is it anything else? Because guess what? Utah, BYU, we don't have an automatic into the Power 2. How are we going to compete? How are we going to make sure that we're not getting left behind? Right? Like, and so that's really the questions. How do you hedge against, like, it's in the best interest of the ACC and Big 12 to have Notre Dame remain independent. The day that Notre Dame jumps to the Big 10 is the day that we're hung. Seriously. And so, like, I mean, we might be joking about Notre Dame, but in all reality, they're keeping the Big 12 afloat to be like a serious A4 level conference still, because once they move, all the huge brands are off the board in the conferences. Florida State, Clemson too. I mean, that's really kind of what we're looking at.
And you know, we speculated, only speculation, 100% speculation. But you know, Wild, you and I have talked about, you know, if Florida State and Clemson stay in the ACC, you know, we're rolling into 2030, 2029, 2030. Are we looking at the prospect of some sort of wheeling and dealing between institutions of the Big 12 and the ACC?
Yes. Yes, I think that's exactly what will happen.
Yeah, where they're going to look out for themselves, and they're going to say, let's form something, and some schools are going to get left out, and it's just, but you're going to, you know, that whole thing. But I agree. I mean, if Florida State and Clemson have to remain, though, right? And they could. So, I don't think, going back to Nathan's point, I just don't see the Big Ten brand, the conference, going away anytime.
Yeah, no, I wasn't. If I said that, I didn't mean to see that.
No,
I wasn't talking about getting rid of the conferences.
Well, that's what I mean. Getting rid of the conferences.
Yeah, I'm not saying that.
Even in football, I don't. Now,
no,
I'm not.
You can even play conference games. What I'm saying is, you're all part of a larger league. It's like a division in the NFL.
Yeah, I don't think the University of Minnesota.
20-team divisions, 60 teams, a majority of the TV markets in the entire country. You don't see any value in that. And that's cool. We can disagree. That's fine.
Well, no, I mean, obviously we can disagree. But what I'm saying is 3 divisions of 20 teams. No, you're talking like 7 divisions of 10 teams, right?
No, I'm seriously talking about 3 divisions.
Well, you got
Big 12, SEC.
So what you're saying is there's 3 conferences of 20 teams.
Yes.
But we're all under the same umbrella.
The 60 would be in a division to themselves. Yes.
Okay. All right. And then, so
you could go to 72 and have 3 at 24. It's a lot more mouths to feed, though. I think 60 is the max.
Yeah, I think that is here. I've kind of given up on it because it's like wishful thinking. Like it's really good scenario for Big 12, ACC teams, G6 teams, but frankly, Big 10 does not want anything to do with that. They want to play each other. They love the format they've got.
Honestly, and it would be like and I said, you know, it would be like asking the Big 12 to, okay, let's just bring on the Mountain West schools.
Sure.
You know, it's the same, like, well, why? I mean, it's like, we don't want, you know.
No, that's what I'm talking about, this uproar thing, though. That's why I think this could be the whole thing could be a psyop. The whole thing could be a psychology, twisting people's, you know, look, this is a bridge too far for anybody that's not in Notre Dame or the P2. So everybody needs to rise up and tear down the walls.
And I absolutely agree. I've had some really fun live shows lately where, you know, I've said the Big Ten's under attack, you know, because, you know, because I don't blame anybody for, you know, everyone's, you know, everyone's got a really good case. I'm being serious. It's like, I get it. The one thing that I think you guys talk about, Brett Yormark and Phillips folding like an accordion or whatever.
Right. That's what. Well, yes. That's
the real folding of the accordion happened when the Big 12 and the ACC gave the Big 10 and the SEC the power to create the college football playoff format starting in 26 to 2031.
Yeah, I think you could say they didn't really have a choice. You could make an argument that what were they going to
Sure,
do?
you can make that choice, but see, what they have said, or not maybe Phillips and Yormark directly, but people of that same interest said, well, the Big Ten and the SEC were threatening the breakaway, correct?
Yeah, that's what you said at the top of the
Okay,
show.
but I'm not buying that. I mean, I'm buying that they were threatening. I'm not buying that they could have left, because we're in the middle of this House NCAA settlement. They needed all these schools to sign on. And I said it at the time. I said, this is a threat that has no teeth to it. They're not going to be able to break. They might break away years down the road, but they can't break away now. So I've always been confused why the idea that they're going to be rising up politicians, maybe suits, people's lawyers. But the problem on this particular event is that people signed, the SEC and the Big Ten did get, signed it away. They signed, if the SEC and the Big Ten agree, then they got the power. It's all been, it's like the House settlement thing. We all want to complain about this or that of this NCAA. All of our schools signed on it, right? Ohio State, sorry, Mo, and your school signed on the dotted line. So did
Greg. It's kind of like the old Michigan defense from a couple of years ago. It's that Python squeeze, like that defense would just squeeze you. But that's what the Big Ten and the SEC have been doing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, and so these leverage points and everything, getting
No,
more
you're
power through the squeeze.
Yeah.
And like, there's only so much you can do to get out of the squeeze.
That's a good analogy. That's a very good analogy.
Mm-hmm.
And like, that's I think that's where the Big 12 was, when they were negotiating that a couple of years back and gave so much power up and stuff. Hey, you're going to pull away. Like, what are you supposed to do? Like, you're getting squeezed.
We should come up with a graphic that says exactly that. Write that down, make a note. I think it's a fantastic analogy. Python gently squeezing. You don't know you're dead, but you're already dead the minute he's got your rat. Let's get Justin R. representing the University of South Florida. I haven't seen you for a minute, Justin. Thanks so much for being here. $10 super chat. Big Ten deal TV ends 2029. AAC Big 12 ends 2031. CFP NC men's tourney end in 2032. SEC and NFL end in 2033. NBA and ACC end in 2036. Will there be enough TV money for the Big 12 and the ACC? And all I can say about that, in my opinion, you guys can answer this too. I think the Big 12 does have the advantage because they negotiate 5 years earlier. But again, it's going to come down to what happens with Clemson, Miami, and Florida State, in my opinion. What do you guys think?
Go ahead, Greg.
I think Yormark's going to pull the old rabbit out of the old hat. I think
what? What could he possibly do?
Now I'm going to be optimistic here. I don't want
we need optimism.
I don't want to offend anybody, but I'm going to be optimistic. I think
we need it.
I think this whole, or not the whole thing, but there's a large part of what Yormark's doing right now, talking to private capital, is to get relationships, get a long takeoff strip in the Big 12 airport, to where when he negotiates the next time with ESPN and Fox, that he has some leverage in his negotiations. And his leverage in the negotiation is, you know what, I've got, private capital here. We've got some connection to some large streaming giant. I don't know which one, but we've got a connection with them. Our Big 12, we don't have the big markets, but we've got the fan intensity. They're willing to spend money. Heck, they're willing to spend pay-per-view money on Big 12 conference games. We're willing to take some of our content and put it over here,
right,
where the people outside the room have been, where they got money stacked on tables. We're talking with them. We've been talking with them for a couple of years. So ESPN and Fox, what are you going to do? If you don't give us, Bray Yormark saved the Big 12 by focusing on the exposure part on October 30th, 2022, when he signed the deal.
I agree with you.
This time it's going to be about the cash, straight cash, homie. That's what Brett Yormark is looking at. That's what I think this private capital, his approach to it. So I think the Big 12 is going to have a card to play in a few years from now. I think that's what we're going to see.
Okay, you real quick. We got a banger of a super chat, so go ahead and answer real quick. You
No. Let's just get to the super chats.
look at this. Vox
hold
Guidaro.
Folks.
Go ahead, Moen.
I was going to say I owe Justin our sound effect.
Please
do. Since we're talking about Brett Yormark, here's his saying.
Tell him to bring me my money.
All right, let's do Vox. What do you got for $100 super chat there, Moen?
Give him a bunch of squawks.
Yeah, I don't care what you give him.
Squawks.
There we go. Let's get that. Fantastic. That is awesome. Thank you so much, Vox. This isn't a mistake nor a sign of weakness. Yormark is too good at playing the cards he is dealt. We just don't know what we don't know. I appreciate Vox being very positive. Thank you, Vox. I needed that tonight because it's been tough. Today has been a tough day.
You know what else we don't know?
What?
So you cared whose ass it was and why it was starting.
That broke
and I believe
up.
that time can come again.
Okay, I could barely hear that. So
Oh, sorry. It was a Idiocracy quote.
Okay, all right. Vox, thank you so much. $100 super chat. You don't understand how much that helps us keep this thing going. Thank you so much. If I had to bet right now, let's go around the table. We're actually going long tonight. Really quick, just quick answer. Does Brett Yormark in the next 12 months do something to reinvigorate the Big 12? Greg, you've already said part of it.
Yes. And it's something to do with money. Yeah, I think yes. The answer is yes.
Okay. How about you, Moen? What do you think?
I think the answer is yes, and it has to do with poaching ACC teams. So
let's go. Let's go, Moen.
You and I are all for that. What do you think about Vox's comment here?
I want to see the money. I want to see all State 12 get done. I think that we're waiting on private capital to work that deal out, but we need about 10 to 15 more million per year and stuff. Poach the ACC, all State 12, get more private capital deals done. Look, for the time being, nobody in Big 12 is going anywhere. Utah's not going anywhere. Let's just double down and get some money so we can compete in the next 5 years.
Very good. Thank you so much, Vox. I'm going to give you a clap out, brother. That is an awesome super chat. Thank you so much. We're very grateful. Okay, final words here, Greg. Oh, wait, I got one more super chat from Tempest. Let's just get them back to back here. Great to see you, Tempest. $5 super chat. Also a valuable member of the Mafia family, saying this is to help keep the lights on. Not much, but Ute thinks he's a bird.
What do you think about that, Mr. Flugar? Yeah, baby.
What is a Ute?
Ute. That's a Ute. All right, Greg, I don't have any more super chats. Something else to get to. 30 seconds. What's your final word on this announcement today about the CFP? That is one word. Is that the only word you wanted to use?
I don't know. It's Notre Dame drinks our milkshake once again.
Wow. Yeah, got
let me say this. My prediction is BYU.
Yes.
Will be playing Utah.
Let's go.
2026, the evening of Wednesday before Thanksgiving.
Let's get that done right now.
So when you're talking about your mark, money and all this stuff, I think they're going to put games on non-traditional dates starting in 2026
Please let that happen.
Just give a mini bye week before. Bye week. Get ready for that one.
And that game, I guarantee you, generates millions and millions of views.
And we'll get more money for the Big 12 for all the schools.
Yeah, Ute and I would absolutely love that. We've been talking about it for what? It's been over a year now, Ute, right?
Definitely. Yeah.
By the way, I give John Wilner credit for that. That's the first guy I ever heard say that. You might have said it before, John. I don't know, Greg. That's the first time I heard it was from him. Moen.
Yeah, I owe a sounder to Tempest. I don't know.
Give it to him. Let's go.
Yeah, two Utes.
What is a Ute?
There you go.
Thank you.
What is a Ute?
What is a Ute? That's great.
Thank you for the super chat, Tempest. My main takeaway is now everybody gets to see Notre Dame for what Notre Dame is. A lot of people have been defending Notre Dame. I've seen a lot of people out there saying, "Oh, how can USC let this tradition, this great tradition with Notre Dame go?" Because USC plays a conference schedule, people. They play a conference schedule in the conference that has won the last 2 national championships. So yeah, I can see them, and they're probably going to end up having a scheduling agreement with the SEC at some point that is going to feature the top brands from the Big Ten against the top brands from the SEC. And now you want them to schedule Notre Dame on top of it. But Notre Dame gets to continue to play. We get to schedule who we choose to schedule because the ACC is going to grab ankle for us. So we get to play Clemson and Miami, and we'll play Wake Forest, and then we'll play Navy. But yeah, USC is the real villain here. No, Notre Dame's the villain. Notre Dame has always been the villain. Notre Dame will always be the villain. The reason I say is they need to bend the knee is they need to bend the knee. Even if it's not to the Big Ten, join the ACC as a full member. Play in the full membership conference. Play a conference championship game. If you're going to be equal, be equal. It's unequal right now, and it's completely unfair.
I love it. Thank you so much, Mohan. Well said. Very well said. Thank you very much. Ute. What is a Ute?
Never, ever buy Mickey's. Ever. Never forget the Jayhawk squawk. And lastly, remember that Duke. There we go. That's for our boy Vox. And remember that Duke would go to the Big Ten for free and play the SMU card with no problems at all.
Yeah.
And they're still probably not going to get in.
Yeah, maybe not. Possibly true. All I'm going to do is thank everybody for being here tonight. It's been a wonderful show. Thanks, Greg, for joining us for the Q&A.
Thanks for letting me on, guys. Appreciate it.
We appreciate you and appreciate everybody that's been watching. I turned on X again, so if you're watching on X, just came across us. One thing, follow me because you're watching me on my feed. Follow me, turn on your notifications. Follow the rest of these guys here, Greg Flugar, Wild Ute, and this little guy in the corner called Moen After Dark. And this is what we do around here, College Football Mafia Network. Look us up on YouTube and subscribe, please. Give us a comment or question. Let us know how we did. And at the end of the day, everybody just needs to keep their head up. If you're in the ACC or the Big 12, that's all I can say, because this quote is brutal. Today's decision might not be the best thing for the Big 12, but it is the best thing for college football. Oh, boy. Whatever that means, Brett Yormark, thanks for selling us out, brother. We appreciate it. Everybody else have a great night. Stay out of trouble. Have a good weekend. And we will catch you later. Bye-bye.